We're going to talk about some really common and useful four-string chord voicings that jazz guitar players use all the time. You might even recognize that progression. It's basically Misty. And I only had a couple of different chord shapes in there, but I want to go really in depth into families of chords where you typically grab four strings and play a little percussion like I'm doing there, or you kill the strings you're not playing with your left hand, and then you could strum them with a pick. But we're going to talk about basically three different families of chords. Chords that have the root on the sixth string, chords that have the root on the fifth string, and chords that have the root on the fourth string. And then as a bonus, I'll start talking about some more exotic chords, but they're slightly more exotic. But it's really going to focus on seventh chords, the six different members of the seventh chord family. And so first we're going to talk about some intervals that you should recognize on the guitar. Matter of fact, I'm going to start that right now. If you think about a typical major chord, and let me back up just a second. Also, when I talk about root 6 chords or root 5 chords, these are essentially chords out of our E and A bar chord families. So if you play a G chord as a full bar at the 3rd fret, shaped like an E, that's just a major chord. And it's derived, of course, from E major. Our other main family is A, and if you play a C chord barred at the 3rd fret, that's part of the A family. So those are the foundations that we're going to be building on in the first place. But if you think about the notes in a G chord at the 3rd fret on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings, this is important because those three notes are laid out in a triad, 1, 3, 5. So if you take your really small F chord, but only talking about the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings, I've got the F on the 4th string, the A on the 3rd string, and the C on the 2nd string. So I've got the root, the 3rd, and the 5th right there next to each other. That's going to be our starting point, but I'm going to talk about this mostly with G, because I could also play this chord getting a lower G in the bass, which means the note on the 4th string could be changed to something other than the root. And in particular, that's where we're going to get the sevenths of these seventh chords, because the seventh of a chord is either a half step or a whole step or possibly even a step and a half below the root. So that's what we're going to break down there. So review your E and A family chords first, and then we're going to even talk a little bit about the D family, or chords that have the root on the 4th string. So next segment, I will get some close-ups here of my hand and start breaking down these 4-string chord voicings that are commonly used in jazz.